What's going on, conquistadors? It is Scotty the Chunky Spaniard. Welcome back to Round Like Me, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time for a Tunes on a Tuesday. That's right, Tuesday, the day music should have been released, not all these other days when they randomly release crap, like freaking Taylor Swift releases a new horrible single. Cause, I mean, seriously, look what you made me do, Taylor. Made me talk about you right now when I'm supposed to be talking about good music. Oh! Yeah, kids would be like, oh, savage. So stupid. I actually wanted to just talk about some other stuff first before we even get into the music. If my voice starts going out, it is because this has been happening every single night for like the past 3 or 4 nights. I've been losing my voice in the evening. So if it sounds a little weird, I mean, it sounds weird most of the time anyway. But if it sounds really weird, it's because I don't know what's going on with my vocalizer. And have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're like the dumbest one in the room? That's how I was today. They sent me to this like workshop for math teachers, and it's for math intervention where you work with kids that might be struggling. And good stuff to talk about, good group of teachers to talk to. Just felt so dumb. I just, man, the stuff they were saying was just so above my head. And then they would ask about like, so how would you solve this kind of a problem? I don't know, I would just subtract. They're like, no, I visualize moving up to this and then moving this and then going here and then finding the difference between the two and blah, blah. I'm like, why didn't you just subtract and borrow? So I was that kid today. So if you've ever been that kid, I was that kid today. But now that I got my horrible feelings about the day out of the way, let's talk about some music. It is November. Now, I don't know how you can top Michael Jackson. There aren't many artists that can top Michael Jackson because that's what we did on Halloween. Talked about Thriller. But today, it is now November, and I was like, okay, what could I do? There aren't many bands that have turkey in them, you know, if we're thinking Thanksgiving. And I was like, well, they have Movember where guys like grow their mustaches and stuff like that. I was like, let's make this a no doubt November. So make no doubt about it, this is gonna be a great month of Tunes on a Tuesday. And we're gonna talk about No Doubt every Tuesday. Different No Doubt every Tuesday, but No Doubt, and then some other stuff. Before we talk about No Doubt, I always try to mention something that's current, something that, you know, just came out. There's some other stuff that has just come out recently. Maroon 5 has a new album out. I haven't given the whole thing a good listen, but it's still not the Maroon 5 that I love. Songs about Jane, Maroon 5. Sam Smith, who's got an amazing voice, has a new album out. But I want to talk about Charlie Puth just for a second. He's got an album that's going to be coming out. He's got 2 singles out right now, Attention and How Long. But the song Attention, that song is unbelievable. Now hear me out on this, okay? He's a pop guy, but there's something about when an artist supports something that you like. Charlie Puth was on this show called Undateable. He played in between when they did Undateable Live, who had Chris D'Elia, Ron Funches, Brent Morin, and Rick Glassman, all amazing comedians. And they had Charlie Puth on there. They also had Ed Sheeran on there, so a little bit of credibility. And I was like, okay, dude plays piano. I like him. He's a current pop artist that I can somewhat respect. Then Attention came out, and I was like, I don't know, too dancey, maybe. And then I gave it a good listen. If you have not given the song Attention by Charlie Puth any like time of day, you need to go do it, because it starts off with that like muted guitar. But once the song really gets into it, after he does that little vocal lick that he does, once the bass kicks in, that song is too legit to quit, as MC Hammer would have said back in the day with his parachute pants. But for real, oh my gosh, want to talk about some funk. That bass line is just bringing the funk. And then listen to the guitar interplay with the bass in the background. It's very Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder-esque. I'd say it's more MJ than anything. but it's got that cool little like funk groove. Now, you know, Charlie Puth's voice is kind of high, and I love Adam Levine, so maybe that's why I like it. A lot of falsetto going on. But, oh my gosh, and this isn't even about lyrical content. It's about a girl messing with him. She wants attention, so she's dressing a certain way. She's messing with his head, and he realizes what's going on, but, I mean, music's gonna move you, and it's gonna make you dance. And so he's probably dancing towards her. And even though he realizes all she wants is attention. So, if you haven't checked out Charlie Puth, Attention, go check it out. Good tune, really funky. That bass line will make you keep coming back. Okay, do it. Now let's talk about No Doubt. Oh, I've mentioned No Doubt before. Now, No Doubt, we're gonna talk about their first 2 albums. We're gonna kind of go in 2 album chunks this month, each Tuesday. And this one leads me on a couple different rabbit trails. I moved back to California from Oregon in 1995. At that time, No Doubt had not yet released Tragic Kingdom. So they were still basically kind of pretty much just an Orange County band. And where did I move back to? I moved back to Orange County from Oregon. And so I'm living in Mission Viejo, going to school in Irvine, and some people bring up ska music. Hadn't really heard of ska music. And then they're like, you gotta check out this band, No Doubt. And I was like, who? They're like, No Doubt. They're amazing. And I was like, okay, I'll check them out. So, No Doubt, Orange County band, my college years, their first album was this self-titled release. A lot of people have this tattoo, actually. 14 songs on this, and the one that people like the most is Trapped in a Box. Now, the CD, killer artwork. I mean, this has been mimicked by so many other bands. Just a railroad crossing sign. And that song is not my favorite. Everybody else will be like, Trapped in a Box. I honestly did not like Gwen's vocals on that song. Excuse me. And Interscope put this album out in 1992. So I was a little behind on the No Doubt train, but this album did not do well. If you listen to any documentaries or read any interviews, No Doubt, they were playing shows in clubs to like no one. They were playing to themselves. Adrian Young, their drummer, he had told the band they were looking for a drummer. He told them he played drums. He'd never played drums, and so he had to learn them real quick. Tom had been in a rock band, their guitarist, and they brought him in and had to leave the rock band. And then Tony came on as bass, and Gwen's brother Eric, who a lot of people don't know who was in the band, was playing keys and was their primary songwriter. And this album did not give them a lot of traction when this album first came out. But I went back and listened to it this week in preparation for this, and it's really good. Like, surprisingly, I don't remember liking it when I first got it, but going back and listening to it, I really like this album. Now, the recording quality is what you would have gotten from Orange County ska back in the 90s, in the early 90s, when you had bands like Save Ferris, another female lead singer, Monique Powell, and loved Save Ferris. This is, you can't find this anywhere. It's not even on iTunes. This was their first album. It was only, how many songs? It was only 7 songs. But it had Super Spy, World is New, which they redid it, Spam, great songs. But you listen to the quality of this, or you listen to the quality of this, Jeffrey's Fan Club, okay? I loved Jeffrey's Fan Club. They were great. I don't know why they weren't bigger than they were, but I really did like Jeffrey's Fan Club. And the quality, really, if you really want to put it in perspective, was kind of like that of 40 Ounces to Freedom. This came out around the same time as this, right here. And Sublime, 40 Ounces to Freedom, little special place in my heart, not only just because they're from Orange County, but Don't Push, the song Don't Push off this album, 40 Ounces to Freedom, is one that my band Flipside used to cover when I was in college, and was such a fun song to play. I mean, Sublime is just so much fun to play. You can't sing like Bradley, but you can try and play it and do it justice. Rome does a good job of Sublime with Rome now, but still not Sublime with Bradley. But their first album, No Doubt, go check it out. They've got guitar solos, they've got horn solos. Tony's bass is just ripping on this thing, and you can see that Gwen is starting to kind of find her voice. She's good, but she's not the Gwen Stefani that everybody loves yet. So this album didn't do well. Didn't do well at all. And in the meantime, they decided to produce their own album. This one was called the Beacon Street Collection. And as you can see, this is the reissue. It's got the little stamp on the face right there. They recorded this in their garage on their own in the meantime. And it actually did better than their first album. And honestly, now going back and listening to it, I don't know, I mean, maybe because Bradley from Sublime sang on the song Total Hate 95. That's my favorite song on this album. And it's got some really, really good ska guitar at the beginning, and then it goes into this thrash punk stuff, and then it goes back into ska. Got a trombone solo on this album. Open the Gate, the very first track on this album, definitely sounds like the beginnings of Tragic Kingdom, like how they were kind of moving into that. So then other songs on this, like Snakes, I think it's Snakes. It definitely sounds, you listen to the beginning, very much like Don't Speak. So you can see where they're starting to formulate these ideas for the album that we're going to talk about next week that I'm mentioning way too much right now. But it's an okay album. I like this one better as a whole, honestly, and it didn't do as well, but this one started getting them noticed. And this is like a little prized possession of mine. Notice how, again, how this says reissue right here. It's a reissue of No Doubt's 1995 independent release. When I moved, I went to a record store and I found the Beacon Street collection. Again, it's still in plastic, but not the reissue, the original. It even has like the little Sesame Street logo for the Beacon Street records. It's still in plastic, and I know CDs aren't as popular as vinyl, but for me, it's kind of like a little prized possession for me because it's the original Beacon Street collection, and I'm not unwrapping it anytime soon because I got the reissue and it's got all the same tracks on it, but the original. So, No Doubt. Definitely Orange County punk, ska. Gwen was starting to really sound like Gwen on this album. And that just got me into this whole rabbit hole of other bands. And so I went to Save Ferris. And oh my gosh, loved Save Ferris. If you don't know who Save Ferris is, you probably know because on this album they did Come On Eileen. And the ska version of Come On Eileen, kind of like Real Big Fish did the ska version of Take On Me. Oh my gosh. This song, and this one has Super Spy, World Is New. It has Spam on it. But then it's got Lies, which is another good song. Both of these bands, No Doubt and Save Ferris, kind of were doing the same sound where it was kind of like this swanky, kind of jazzy tone. On this album, Gwen was trying to, rather than be like her punk self, like the Attitude, she was trying to like sing more, a little more operatic, going with her falsetto and going up there and singing in her higher register. And then Save Ferris dropped this album and blew all of our minds. Then they came out with this one, and then they fell off the map. Okay, this one was a really good one too, with the original band members. Then they fell off the map. But just last year, Save Ferris announced that they were getting back together. Well, Monique put together a new band for Save Ferris. Not the same guys in the original band. But they did a Kickstarter and came out with Checkered Past, this little 5-song EP. Okay, my favorite track on this album, okay, and it's autographed because I did the Kickstarter. Save Ferris's new EP, Checkered Past, Golden Silence. Just that intro horn line. Oh, I mean, like, cool thing about ska is that if you play a horn, you can be in a ska band. I tried to be in a ska band, didn't work. I'm shocked No Doubt stuck together after, I mean, I'm glad they did, but I'm shocked after playing all these shows to no one. You're driving around in a van, playing to no one. I was in a ska, attempted to be in a ska band. I was in this hotbed of Orange County bands. One of my good friends was the drummer for the Orange County Supertones. And so that was a big influence for me, who then, you know, they were homies with like Five Iron Frenzy, and then Supertones branched off. Like one of the horn player, Dave, went over and started the Dingies and their roadie. And so like I was in the middle of ska, so I tried to be in a ska band, tried to be the horn leader, the horn sections, and we never got out of the living room. It was a disaster. But Save Ferris, go check them out. Jeffrey's Fan Club, go give them a listen. They were so good. Here are their 2 albums you can still get on iTunes. I loved them, but the sound isn't gonna be stuff that you got now. These were bands that were trying to make it big. They were getting signed, but not having a lot of money backing them, or they were recording independently, and you still gotta give them a listen, because there are good tunes on here. And if you haven't given Sublime a listen in a long time, go listen to 40 Ounces of Freedom. I mean, great songs on here, and go listen to Don't Push, just for me, because that's a song I used to play live when I was in college. Not to mention, I mean, come on. Really? Like, come on. Sublime. Oh, the melodies, Bradley's voice, everything. So this is a completely like ska-centric episode of Tunes on a Tuesday. No doubt, first 2 albums, self-titled and Beacon Street Collection. You gotta go listen to them. I think you might like this one better, even though it wasn't as well known and did not get as much good press. I think you might like this one better. It has guitar solos, it's got shredding horns, Tony's bass is just thumping the entire time. This one, pretty good. Total Hate is the one you definitely want to listen to, especially if you're a fan of Sublime, because Bradley sings on it. He's got a vocal melody part on it, he's singing harmonies most of the time, but definitely Sublime influenced. Tony's bass on some of these songs sounds like he was going through a Zoom pedal from the 90s. If you know what a Zoom pedal is, it was like this really, really affordable pedal. I had one, but the tone wasn't great. And so sometimes the tones weren't there. Tom is very into his wah pedal on this. If you like wah pedal, you're gonna like this. But go back and listen to some Gwen and some No Doubt, because no doubt about it, you're gonna like it. I love No Doubt. One of my favorite bands from that time period. And then if you like No Doubt and you're all into, you know, like female vocalists, because I'm of the opinion that we had better female vocalists back then than we do now. Don't get all mad. Relax. I'm not saying that they don't have talent now, but the music they were putting out as a whole, so much better in the 90s and early 2000s. So much better. And I will argue that till the day I die, that we had better female vocalists back then and artists. We truly did, okay? Save Ferris, go check it out. Their new one, Checkered Past, and the song Golden Silence. If you really want to go back and get there. You can't get this anymore. Ha ha ha! That one. Can't get it anymore. I have it though. Oh yeah, I do. There's a little panda on there. Yep, love me some Save Ferris. But I think you can get these 2 on iTunes still. And Come On Eileen and some other great just ska tunes. If you really like the upbeat ska, like of Real Big Fish and things like that, this is what you want to go get. And then go back, give Jeffrey's Fan Club a listen. And you know you all have Sublime in your, you know, what I got in my collection? I got some Sublime, right? You like that? Okay. So, Super Ska, Super Spy, Super Ska Day on this day. On this No Doubt November, and next week we will talk about the next 2 albums in No Doubt's collection and why I feel like that was their best era. Yeah. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for dealing with the vocal issues. Well, we had some audio technical difficulties on the video from Sunday with my family. And thank you for not getting all mad because I missed last Thursday. There's a lot going on, and sometimes it just happens. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. This was a Tunes on a Tuesday, No Doubt November. So make sure you come back next Tuesday when we talk about 2 more No Doubt albums. One of them being my favorite, the other one, not so much. And remember, Conquistadors, to be a better person tomorrow than you were today, because there's always room for improvement. So make sure you come back on Thursday for a Yeah Nope. I'm gonna put one out on this Thursday, for sure, because it's still the beginning of the week, and I'm already full of Yeah Nopes already up to here, up to the top of this brim, beyond this brim of this amazing Linkin Park hat. I'll see you next time. Be good people. Take care. Bye.